So in this video, I want to talk about some of the rumors that are going around. I guess you can call it misinformation about the coronavirus. One theory that I keep seeing when I go on the internet, and it could be that there's trolls and US bots that are trying to influence people, and I'm pretty sure that's probably the main reason. But what's even scarier is I'm seeing politicians say this. I'm seeing some of these not very reliable newspapers write about it. So even though it's only existing in these really obscure places like YouTube comments, but when these theories start popping up with elected politicians, and albeit there's only one, and some of these unreliable news sources, it does start to worry me a little bit that people are going to start to believe this unfounded rumor. So I'm sure you probably heard of it too. The rumor is that this virus was intentionally leaked by Wuhan Lab. They're trying to push the idea that it's the government's fault. And they're even basing this on some precedent. They're saying, well, it happened in 2004. Well, it did. There was a leak from a lab in Beijing, and one person died, and I think 9 people got infected. It's a very, very small leak. But here's the thing, because while it is possible, totally possible that a leak happened in Wuhan, but then so are so many other things, and that's what really bothers me. If we're going to go into the realm of possibilities, well, then we can say anything. We could say that the CIA planted this virus. That's a very possible theory too. The time that this virus started was around the same time that there was a Wuhan military games. So every 4 years, there are military games where the world's military comes out and competes in events. And Wuhan hosted it last year in 2019, the same time first cases appeared. So America joined the games with around 300 participants. So it's very possible for the Trump administration to destabilize, to force China into an unfair trade agreement, to release this non-traceable virus onto the population, and it would really cripple China's economy. And it has. The entire country's been shut down for a month. No one's going outside. So many businesses are remaining closed. And if that was the Trump regime's intention, to use all means necessary in order to achieve a favorable outcome in this trade war, then, well, why not? The US government, they've called China the biggest threat to US values, to US interests around the world. So if China's the biggest threat to the US, well, why not launch this attack? I mean, it's not like America's never done this before. So if we're going into the realm of speculation, you got to be open to all the possibilities, every single doubt, every single suspicion. According to some reports, the US possibly has biolabs all over the world. They even have a lab in Korea, and recently Korea had a massive outbreak. And the weird thing is those infected weren't connected to China at all. The woman called Patient 31 developed a fever on February 10th and attended 4 church services before being diagnosed with COVID-19. Despite running a fever, the woman twice refused to be tested for the coronavirus as she had not recently traveled abroad, according to The Guardian. So far, she and 37 other members of the church have tested positive, and 52 additional churchgoers have shown symptoms of infection. I find it interesting that this woman who's never traveled abroad has contracted this virus. And what's really interesting is that Daegu has a US Army garrison. So again, in Wuhan, the first viruses started to appear 2 or 3 weeks after the Wuhan military games. And as we all know, the virus has about a 3-week incubation period. The time matched perfectly. This virus has an average growth rate of 2.2. But this one woman, Patient 31, supposedly spread this virus to 89 people. Do you think that's possible? And it's also interesting that Daegu has a US Army garrison. It just seems wherever the US military is, there just happens to be an outbreak. If you actually go on this website and search, there are actually many patents for the coronavirus, and this is just one of them from 2015. The invention of a live attenuated coronavirus. This coronavirus may be used as a vaccine for treating and or preventing disease such as infectious bronchitis in a subject. So it seems that this Pirbright Institute has really learned how to manipulate and create coronaviruses. Then it really doesn't take a stretch of the imagination that they could use this as a weapon. So Nature magazine, which is one of the most prominent science magazines on Earth, published this article, and it compares the receptor ACE2 in different populations.
Angiotensin-converting enzyme 2, or ACE2 in humans. It looks like this is how it enters the cells of the lower lung. It kills the cell while creating more virus. But the lungs aren't the only place where humans have ACE2. The stomach and the intestines have it. It's on the kidneys, and it's in the heart. But a problem of the heart or the lungs can kill someone in minutes, which brings us back to pneumonia.
This graphic shows people who live in China have the most, 0.996. And the demographic with the lowest amount are Europeans. If it was designed to attack a specific group, it was perfectly designed to attack Chinese people, as well as East Asians. These studies and the fact that there's a patent of the coronavirus in the USA is just unbelievable evidence that maybe the US did play a role here.
Stuxnet was discovered lurking in the databanks of power plants, traffic control systems, and factories around the world. It had an array of capabilities. Among them, the ability to turn up the pressure inside nuclear reactors or switch off oil pipelines, and Stuxnet could tell the system operators everything was normal. Stux is a specific target. Without that target, the virus remained dormant. What was it looking to shut down? The centrifuges that spin nuclear material at Iran's enrichment facilities. Stuxnet was a weapon, the first to be made entirely out of code. Who will redesign it? The evolution has been so fast that 9 months after its detection, the first virus that could crash power grids or destroy oil pipelines is available online for anyone to download and tinker with. It's an open source weapon, and there's no way of knowing who will use it.
America has released devastating viruses before onto the world. Stuxnet was one of them, and it was only revealed 5 years later in 2010 when people were trying to wonder, what was this bug? What was this thing infecting computers all around the world? They finally realized it traced back to the American government. So the US is no innocent player here. They've done things like this. They've also engaged in biological warfare in the past. They've tried to poison leaders using bioweapons. They've used anthrax. They have 200 labs in the US and possibly sprinkled around the world. If we really want to get into speculation, we can do that. But it's funny that the media is so biased that they will only speculate if it makes China look bad. When newspapers are speculating, when trolls on the internet are all saying the exact same message at the same time, it's almost like the government or the CIA gave them orders and they're all saying, oh, the virus is leaked from the Wuhan Lab, but there's no evidence. It definitely feels that the system-wide effort is an attempt to deflect blame, a sort of preemptive accusation, if you will. We could equally speculate it was the US that planted an insect or vial, or even someone infected with the virus, went to Wuhan during the military games and just coughed on a bunch of people. We could equally speculate that, especially since the US has a long history of interfering with other governments and doing things like this with very little consideration of the impact or legality. Just before this virus blew up, America assassinated the number 2 man in Iran, the general of the Iranian forces. So America is brazen in these actions, and we could equally speculate that they were part of this. But no one did. No one responsible would do that because it's just speculation. But of course the media speculated in a way that would make China look or sound evil, so that all those people in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, in those places that kind of fear their own motherland, their own government, could continue to be fed lies in order to crystallize their false beliefs. Although I'm not even a real media outlet, I don't want to be like them and make a bunch of false accusations, so I'll just list the facts for you to decide. Number 1, we have a motive, a rabid Trump regime that would kill anyone to get re-elected. Number 2, we have a weapon. Coronavirus is patented in the US and which target Chinese via ACE2 receptors. Number 3, we have a delivery system, the US military base network, which spans the globe with 1,000+ bases. Number 4, we have outbreaks with no connection to China but near US military. Number 5, we have history, the Stuxnet virus in 2010. Number 6, we have deflection, a synchronized media campaign to steer the masses' attention away from US culpability. Thank God I'm finally done that video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I spent around 50 hours of my personal time on this series, and I'm just a one-man show. My channel will probably never be monetized as it's political. If you want to support my work and help ensure that independent media like mine stay alive, you can donate to me via WeChat. I'll really appreciate your support.